Welcome back, everyone. It's Mindy, and I'm excited to be a guest designer for the Pinkfresh Studio April release blog hub. And in today's video, I'm going to be featuring a couple of those products and also using some Distress Oxide Sprays. So I'm going to be starting off my card by using a piece of Canson watercolor paper that I trimmed down to 4¼ by 5½. These are the two Distress Oxide sprays that I'll be using, and it is said to shake well. You shake side to side. If you shake up and down, you're going to splatter the inside of your cover, or if you don't have the cover on, you're going to splatter everywhere. So shake side to side really well. Then inside of a box, I placed my cardstock down and I wet the paper with a spritz bottle that I have filled with just regular water. And then I'm spraying down some of that Distress Oxide spray. I'm using Mermaid Lagoon and Picked Raspberry. And once that's wet and sprayed down, I do spritz it again with some water. And I want my inks to move. Now, this is a gorgeous background all on its own, but I wanted those colors to blend together just a little bit more. So I'm spritzing some more of just plain water down, and then I'm going to tilt my cardstock around kind of like I would with alcohol inks and just let that ink move around on my watercolor cardstock. So once I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead, speed up that drying process with my heat tool, because once I have that dried, I'm also going to take this, and I want to make this a really sparkly background. So I'm bringing out my box again. I just have this off on the side, and I'm going to bring in this glitter dust in the iridescent, and this is going to add some gorgeous color or sparkle to my background. Now, it is aerosol and it does really smell, so you want to do this next to a window or have a ceiling fan on, something for ventilation, because it really does smell, but it leaves some gorgeous sparkle on my background. So I'm going to hold this up a little bit and you can see all those beautiful sparkles. And I'm just going to set this off on the side to dry. While that's drying, I'm going to work on the rest of my card. So one of the products that's being released this month is this beautiful blooms die. And this takes up quite a bit of space, but it is so gorgeous and intricate. I love the design of the flowers on here. So I'm going to take this and die cut it from white cardstock, 80 pound, and I'm going to die cut it 3 times. And I'm just going to make sure I have all the bits poked out. And then I'm going to attach these together. Now, a lot of times when I'm layering dies, the best thing to be would to have the stick-it adhesive on the back so they can attach really easily. I forget to do that a lot of the times. So I'm taking a tip that I learned from Kathy Zelski, and she showed this E6000 spray adhesive in her videos one time. So I thought I would give this a try. So it's liquid, it's a squirt bottle, and it does say to shake really well. So I'm going to just shake that up. And I'm bringing out my box again. I have this flipped over. I'm spraying the back side of my die. And then I'm going to give this a couple good spritzes of this glue. And then I'll take my tweezers and I'm going to line this up with one of my other dies. And I'll just make sure everything is lined up. And then I can give it a good push down once I'm comfortable that I have all the pieces lined up perfectly. And then I'll go ahead and do that for the other one too. So I'll layer this. There'll be 3 of them here layered together for dimension. While that's drying, I'm going to work on my sentiment. The sentiment is coming off of this Abstract Builder stamp set, which is a large stamp set filled with these amazing designs. And I'm going to go for this sentiment here. I already have a piece of black cardstock lined up in my MISTI. I'm going to put down my sentiment there. I'm going to leave a little bit of space at the bottom. Once I'm happy with the placement, I can close the door of my MISTI to pick that up. And then I'm going to bring in my anti-static powder tool, and I'll just sprinkle that on. Since I am doing some heat embossing, this just helps so that the embossing powder only sticks to my embossing ink. Then I'll just use my Gina K Designs embossing ink to ink up my stamp. Stamp that down onto the black cardstock, and then I'm going to use some Brutus Monroe white alabaster embossing powder. This is a really quick card to put together. I just thought it was a great introduction to using the Distress Oxide Sprays. I've only used them a couple times, but I'm really liking it so far. It creates some really unique backgrounds. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you, and I thought it made a great background for this beautiful blooms die from Pinkfresh Studio. I will have all of my supplies listed down below in the video description, and I'm also going to have a lot more examples from the release over on my blog, so be sure to check that out. And it is part of a blog hop, so there will be some prizes to give away and more inspiration from other designers. So definitely head over, check out my blog. So I trimmed down my background and I just added it to a piece of white cardstock that's 110 pound. I like using that heavier weight for my card bases. And I did spritz the back of this with that liquid glue again and attach that down. And I will say, once this dries, it's like cement. It is not coming off. I'm really liking this glue so far. So thank you, Kathy, for that suggestion. I'm really loving it. Then I did trim my sentiment down into a thin strip, and I added some foam tape behind it, and I'm just going to add that right in the middle of my card there. So this is a remake of an original version that I had done, since I do like to kind of know what I'm doing before I head into a video. So I'm going to show you the first card that I did, which this one actually turned out pretty similar to my first one. The first one, I probably spritzed it a few more times with the oxide sprays, so that's where you're seeing more pinks and blues versus them mixing together to make that purple, but I'm loving how they both came out. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video, taking a quick look at some of the products from the April release from Pinkfresh Studio. So be sure to head over to my blog, check that out. If you enjoyed today's video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so and would like to see more videos from me. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.